Hello, fellow patriots. In the days that followed the murder of George Floyd, I sent you a message that promised action to address racial inequities that persist here at George Mason University. As I enter my fourth week as president, I want to share with you the actions we will begin to take as a community of patriots. George Mason University enters this national conversation with an admirable track record as a pacesetter for racial justice and for truth-telling about our own past. We are proud to draw upon the expertise of the Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation Campus Center, one of the first of its kind in the nation, the Jimmy and Rosalind Carter School for Peace and Conflict Resolution, one of the nation's few schools dedicated to social justice and peace, and one of the very best, the Enslaved Children of George Mason Research and Memorial Project, the groundbreaking undertaking by our very own students in faculty to tell the truth of our university's namesake so that we may learn and grow from it. And of course, we take pride in hosting Virginia's largest and most diverse student body, with a majority of our students representing communities of color, and our Black student population in particular recognized among the nation's top academic performers. These are just some of the many examples of excellence and inclusion around racial justice that the Mason community has undertaken. They make us proud. But we have a lot of work to do if we're going to ensure that every student, faculty, and staff member is welcome and respected as a full equal in this community of learning. And the uncomfortable truth is, not everyone at Mason feels or is treated equally. So today, I'm creating the President's Task Force on Anti-Racism and Inclusive Excellence and giving its members some big assignments. First, I want to know where our systems, practices, and traditions of racial bias exist at George Mason so that we may eradicate them. Second, I want to build intentional systems and standards of anti-racism that will stop racial injustices from regenerating. And finally, I want George Mason University to emerge from this exercise as a regional, local, and national beacon for the advancement of anti-racism, reconciliation, and healing. This task force will have a broad focus with particular areas of emphasis, including short and long-term improvements to how we approach the following: curriculum and pedagogy, campus and community engagement, university policies and practices, research, and training and development. The task force will be comprised of many of Mason's luminaries in racial justice who will be joined by national experts in this topic. Members will be announced over the course of the coming weeks, and they will represent the full diversity of George Mason University, including racial, ethnic, gender, sexual identity, and religious identity. The recommendations that we act upon will be incorporated into the university's planning and budgeting process to ensure they have priority to take root and flourish. I'm not interested in reports that sit on the shelf only to collect dust. Many reforms at Mason will require thoughtful consideration over time by the task force and the university leadership. Others are obvious, overdue, and simply require executive leadership. So in keeping with my pledge to deliver actions and not just words, I'm announcing immediate steps that we are taking to advance systematic and cultural anti-racism at George Mason University. The many steps that we have identified are available in their entirety on my website, which I invite you to visit via the address on the bottom of the screen. The categories of immediate steps we are taking include how we recruit, hire, promote, and award tenure to our faculty, whose diversity lags far behind our student body, how we police our campus, what curriculum we offer to Mason students and how we teach it, how we support those who have been traumatized by acts of racism, how and what we name buildings and other spaces on campus, how we serve the surrounding community by preparing the region for its increasingly multicultural future, and finally, how best to secure the financial resources and the staff necessary to see these plans through to successful implementation. An initial investment of $5 million will be set aside to strengthen initiatives already underway and to fund critical priorities that need immediate attention. Leadership in an anti-racism environment demands that we recognize how our history has shaped our view of the world and how our own actions can remake them. My vision is nothing short of establishing George Mason University as a national exemplar of anti-racism and inclusive excellence in action. Given the considerable head start we have on most of our peer institutions in the United States, this is a vision we can realize. So, Patriots, let's get to work.